Hi there, Simon from simonwood.com. 4 red Bordeaux's in front of me. 3 of them from the top end of the appellation spectrum. So we've got 2 from Margaux, 1 from Saint Estèphe. But the first one is basic Bordeaux Supérieur. Basic, but I mean, let's have a look. It's Chateau Pay La Tour, Réserve du Château, Bordeaux Supérieur 2008. And the difference between Bordeaux and Bordeaux Supérieur, I think Bordeaux Supérieur has to have a slightly higher minimum level of alcohol. It's not the youngest wine here, but I thought it's the least ambitious, shall we say that, so I'm plonking it first. Anyway, let's give it a whirl. Well, mostly Merlot here. I think it says 95% Merlot. Yeah, 95 Merlot, bit of Cab and bit of Petit Verdot. And what comes out is this very ripe edge of Merlot. That's like toffee character coming through. Slightly baked fruit, but with just a hint of leafy freshness lurking there in the background. Smells like it's going to be quite full-bodied, but not hugely classy, but quite an enjoyable glug. Let's have a see. Yeah, maybe veering just too much for me towards the jammy end. It's okay, but I miss a little bit of fragrance in there. It feels like it's quite a solid, that sweet baked edge. Maybe just takes over that a little bit too much. Okay to start with, but have more hopes for the next 3. So let's stick into them. First one is Harvey Nichols 2009 Margaux, made for them by Rosin Segler, and I'm not sure of the blend here. Does it say blah blah Cabernet and Merlot, 12 months, blah blah blah. Let's give it a whirl. And immediately you're in the presence of something quite a bit more ambitious. So there's this soft, round confidence about it. When the first one felt like it was just trying that little bit too hard, here it's got a fragrant bit, it's got an earthy bit, it's got the fruity bit. It feels like it's, in terms of alcohol, I wouldn't be surprised if the first one was higher. Yeah, 14% on the first one versus 13.5% here. Better vintage. It feels like it's not trying as hard, and in the process, being from a finer vineyard, from a finer producer, and it's just effortlessly succeeding in outclassing the first one. I think it outclasses it in price as well, but hey, let's taste it. It's that dry, elegant, juicy freshness. The fruit's ripe, but it's not overripe, so you're getting these things like the plums, black currants, not so much maybe of the blackberries. It really is on that quite fresh end. And there's also something a bit more exotic. I don't know whether it's something like pomegranate in there. And then this saline edge as well, knitting its way through the wine, keeping it fresh, keeping it perky, and plenty of what I call life beyond fruit. So the finish I'm left with is there's fruit there, and there's some tannin, there's just a little bit of chewiness that's going to keep it going for a good number of years now. But all in all, it's just this lovely harmonious entity that is got more than just that fruit. You've got something of the soil there, you've got something of the good vintage, and something that I really want to maybe have another slug of. Tasty wine, yeah, very impressive. Let's try the next Margaux, which is property I don't know, Chateau Chanteloun. And there's a picture of a dog barking at the moon, which I'm afraid reminds me of Ozzy Osbourne. 2007 Margaux. Don't know anything about the producer. It says here Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. Puts the Merlot first, so maybe makes me think that it's got the lion's share of the blend, but I could just be guessing there. I'll see if I find out. I'll flash it up on screen for you. Now this one's starting to show a little bit more earthy, leafy, leathery development. And I think some of that leafiness comes from it's not quite as ripe and juicy a vintage as 2007. So the fruit, the grapes weren't quite as ripe in the first place. But also it's going into that leafy undergrowth edge that good Bordeaux acquires with time. I don't think that, I think 2 years from now on the 2009, that 2009 will still be a lot fresher. This one seems to be maturing, not quickly, but maturing steadily, shall we say. It doesn't feel like it's going to have quite the highs of the Harvey Nichols one, but feels like it's going to be another rather satisfying wine. Let's have a see. Bit of tobacco. Gentle fruit, yeah, definitely on that black currant, bit of what they call the cigar box character coming through. Nicely made, not overdone, not trying too hard to impress. And again, I mean, this is 13% alcohol. There's some Bordeaux's now that are woofing up to 14.5% alcohol. Here at this level, it feels in balance. It feels nicely posed and poised, and I like it. Yeah, I don't like it quite as much as the previous one, but I do like it. It's got a refreshing quality. That's what I like about it. Maybe not the concentration of the first one, but good lunchtime claret, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it's got that vibrancy still about it. Nice wine. Final one, 10 years older now. Chateau Haute-Marbouzet, 1997, from Saint-Estèphe. Now, Haute-Marbouzet, not a quite famous chateau, but not a classed growth vineyard, but one of those that I think started to be started to impress in the 1980s, and was at the time quite flashy. Used a lot more winemaking techniques and new oak than a lot of the people around them. Other people have since caught up, so it's not quite as much of an outlier as it was, but usually pretty decent standard. But 1997, 15 years old now, should be. Should it be tiring? 1997 wasn't the greatest of vintages, but let's have a see. And it is showing its age. It's got this slightly figgy character. And the fruit's gone, it's lost its freshness, but there's this nice plummy, round, juicy softness, almost starting to develop a little bit of spiciness. One of the problems with wines that are at this stage in their maturity is that they've matured nicely, but it starts becoming difficult to tell which part of the world they come from. You're not supposed to say that, but when you have them in isolation, of course it's typical Bordeaux, but then you shove them in a lineup of Rhones and they think, or in Burgundies, and you go, because there is like this rounded, truffly undergrowth softness here that I would find quite easy to confuse for some other areas. Light, lively, figgy, touch of the consommé about it. I mean, a technical person would probably criticise it for a little bit of Brettanomyces in there, but that's just adding here for me a little bit more complexity, and the fruit behind is sufficiently bold to be able to cope with it. Maybe the finish is just a little bit dry, and maybe it would have been better about 5 years ago. But honestly, today it's looking really nice, and I've double decanted it, so it's probably showing far more forward than it would be if I just poured it straight out. There was quite a reasonable amount of sludge in the bottom, but it's a nice wine, and again, as with the one before, and I think as the 2009 Margot will be when it's starting to get into its middle to late age, it's still got this refreshing edge. That's what good red Bordeaux should have. It should have a mouth-filling flavour, but it should be full-flavoured, medium-bodied, rather than full-flavoured, medium-bodied, full-bodied, medium-flavoured. If that was anything, that seemed to be what they tried to do with the first wine. Other three, far more successful for me, but pricier. Hey, but they've all got something to say for themselves. A bit like me, really. I better shut up for the moment. See you soon.